Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to take a little look at contact, wedge contact, chunking chips, hitting them a little bit thin, where those come from. Gareth, I think there's a lot of people out there who fight the short game. That's the dilemma.
Yeah, I've had people come to me in tears, because they're hitting these bombs, but they're like they get 10 yards off the green and they're, taking 3 to get on. It's a horrible, horrible thing. Now the good thing is that a lot of things can be fixed with technique.
Yeah.
Like just getting a better understanding of how to do it, and then understanding kind of where the chunks and where the thin ones are coming from. For the guy that comes in too shallow, we actually need to steepen it a little bit.
Sure.
So there's a couple of ways that we can do that.
Okay.
So the first way is we're going to look at setup. So if we go straight on, we'll look at your setup. Now your setup has been beautifully adjusted, but what you would have seen normally is ball way too far back for people, hands way too far forward. Now what's going to happen is as you drag these hands back, move your hands back, you're going to have all that weight back there.
Yep.
And you're also going to have the body kind of too far forward, so you're going to have this dropping down here because your center of mass is way up over here, and you've got this club all the way over there, so it's going to drop down, bang. When your hands are forward and de-loft in the club's going to dig. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you've got 15 degrees of bounce on the club. When you shaft lean it that much, it's like a shovel. So you only have to hit fractionally behind, and it really makes you look stupid. It
definitely does. And that's the thing that people go, what bounce do I need? Well, how much forward shaft lean do you have?
Yeah.
Because it might be that your technique doesn't allow the bounce to work at all. And we've seen companies who come out with 20-degree effective bounce wedges to try and compensate for bad technique.
Yeah.
And I think you and I would be in the same boat, and we'd say, okay, there's a number at which we go, okay, hit pause, let's go and work at our technique a little bit. For sure.
And I think what you're in now is a perfect, so people can see this. So if you set up for us again, we'll look and measure a couple of these key points. So ball position in the middle, feet are square, feet, knees, hips, shoulders, sternum is directly over the club face. So we're in a nice spot there. Now, if you were chunking the ball, one simple thing that you could do is just move the sternum forward. So now what we have is the sternum is over the ball. Now keep going. Now I know this looks a little crazy, but what's going to happen, this club's going to come down, and the low point of this golf club is now going to shift out in front of you.
Out here somewhere.
So even with a swing that maybe is not as great here, the technique is not as good, you still should make pretty good contact.
So in those spots that I was telling you about earlier on, little smelly bare lies, just get a little bit more into that lead side just to make sure that low point's out in front.
You're guaranteeing the better contact. You're guaranteeing that you're going to come in. Now the club will come in a little bit steeper, so we'll talk a little bit about that there so that we don't mismanage that there. But let's just say I really struggle. I just can't do it. So you're going to put that sternum a little bit further ahead and then go ahead and hit a little chip. So you'll find that, if anything, you'd probably be closer to thinning this one than anything else.
That's what that one felt like.
If you've gone too far and you are thinning it, then just move it back, move the sternum back. Don't change the weight of your feet, just move the sternum. So keep the weight 50-50, but just move the sternum.
Okay, so keep weight 50-50, sternum moves over.
And then you go from there.
Okay, I mean, that's one that would be a great little result, and on because I could feel myself getting down there a little more now. Wasn't as much as the first one at 11 degrees down in the angle of attack, but 8-6 is guaranteeing the strike for me, pushing that low point forward.
And the reason I said try and keep the weight 50-50 is because anytime you put that weight onto the lead foot, you're going to change the angle of attack and you're going to start to make it very steep. Now, anybody who's been on an airplane, I don't want to be landing on airplanes that come down like this. So you want to just manage that so it's coming in at a nice
so it's
point.
Coming down and it's just shallow nicely.
You got it. So it's just finding that there sweet spot there, and it's moving that sternum into that right position.
Love that.
So we could technically, for the people who are afraid of the ball position being a little further forward, move your ball up onto your left heel, and then put your sternum over the top of the ball, a little past it even. Two in a row.
On a roll.
So what this does is it helps people get away from the back stance.
Yeah.
You know, having the ball back in the stance.
Absolutely.
But what we have to realize is that the feet play absolutely no part in this.
Yeah.
The feet are just on there for us to get balance from.
Sure.
It's the sternum and connected through the hands and arms that we can get the club delivery to figure out where the low point is, not the feet.
Because it's funny you should say that about the feet and the roll and balance, because immediately moving the ball position further forward allowed me to widen my stance a fraction to get my sternum forward. That's what went, okay, I feel good. I feel really like well grounded here. And it just felt immediately really comfortable.
See, the thing is that if you looked at that one with the ball position forward, people would go, hey, your ball position's way forward.
Yeah.
But it's not really.
Yeah.
Relative to the upper body, it's actually pretty much perfect.
Right.
So I think there's a bit of a misconception of ball position. So when I think of ball position, I think of a sternum.
Yeah.
So if I take your chest here,
Sure.
I would have, this would be number 1,
Yeah.
number 2, number 3, number 4.
So really what you and I are talking about there, because I'm thinking the people watching this are going, well, I'm shallow, what does that mean for me? I'm steep, what does that mean for me? This speaks to both people, because it will take you from one side, whether you're steep, back to the right spot, take you from being too shallow into the right spot.
Yeah.
So it really applies to everyone, not just one specific type of issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
Now, you could also go, if you've got that guy that's extremely steep,
Yeah.
we could not change the sternum, because we don't want to change the sternum, but change the weight.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep your sternum over the middle of the ball.
Okay.
And I want you to put 60% of your weight on your trail foot.
Okay. So we're going to go still sternum there.
Yeah, and just
So
keep
more
the weight.
that way.
Yeah. And then just go.
Okay, so you start to utilize the loft there for the digger. Okay, so that was very different. There was very little interaction of the sole there.
You're shallowing it out, because we've got to do something to get the attack angle a little bit less.
And 58 on the delivered loft there. So that came back through close to vertical.
Because of the where you put your weight.
Yeah. Yeah, clipped that one actually a fraction thin because it was so shallow.
Yeah, but one of the easiest things that we can do is, I'm just going to put this down here for you.
Okay.
And it's, about 5 inches behind.
Yeah.
Nice, comfortable, there's nothing to it, it's just an alignment rod. Very, very, very simple.
So we'll go back to that nice
Yeah.
standard position. I like that. I'm going to really start to use that inside the left heel.
Yep.
Get the sternum a little bit forward. Handle in a nice neutral position. It's the best one I've hit of all of them. Strike-wise, to me, that felt great.
So this is great if you are that shallow guy.
Yeah.
Because you're going to destroy that alignment rod. Now,
Yeah.
a little towel or something just down there behind it, bang on to
Yeah.
that. We've got to create some feedback.
And I can see so many people who have been to golf school and said, oh, you don't want to be wristy with your pitching. You want to get a nice kind of wide arc and use the body rotation.
Yeah.
They'd be destroying this
Absolutely.
every time.
Yeah, yeah. And when we were practicing earlier, we were doing that little right hand drill.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing that creates that club moving up.
Yep.
So that's
Trying to get that
one way
really,
to
that
do
motion.
it. Yeah. Now the other one is, if you could make a putting stroke for me. So this is for the other people we're jumping back and forth here, guys. Bear with us, but this is for the guy who is way too steep.
Okay.
I want you to make a big putting stroke.
Yep.
This is something you're comfortable with anyway.
Yeah.
So that's a lovely way to get the shallowness in your stroke. And what you would have noticed from the video there is the hands moving quite far
long
back.
way, yeah.
That creates the shallowness. Versus when we were doing the other one here, what you'll notice is the hands actually don't move very far. The club gets set, and then the club just falls back in the ball. Very nice there. I really like that action for you.
Yeah, quicker.
Yeah.
A little more brisk, yeah.
Let's talk about one other thing that would allow the shallow guy a little bit more forgiveness, and that would be opening the club face.
Yeah.
So literally just opening it a couple of degrees, just add a touch more bounce. So keep your big putting stroke motion, but let's open the club face a touch. Good. So we've added a couple of grease hands, just neutral, and then you're just going to make a nice putting stroke, allowing yourself to hit behind this ball if you wish. So that'll allow the club to slide a little bit more for that guy that really worries about chunking it.
This is great. I think there's a lot of people who will be going, okay, that all makes a bit more sense to me now, why I'm struggling with that chunk or the thin or just inconsistent, because, you know, like we said earlier, you can do both of those things. If you're too steep and your low point's too far ahead, you can hit it thin all the time, or you can fat it. If you're too shallow and you've got that wide arc like you talked about, you can do this. You can do drop kicks. You can do all sorts of stuff. Okay, well, guys, hope that really resonated with a lot of you out there. That was certainly great for me to understand some of my issues with the width, and to be honest, it's exactly what I've been trying to do, and I've been ingraining these flaws. So that's why I wanted to kind of hit reset with this session with Gareth to start to build some better fundamentals for myself for this season. Okay, thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you again soon.